Just one more.
You like
1
to
minute.
film yourself. I can film you.
It's fine. It's all right. Just 1 minute, please. So, since I'm the only speaker today, and that we're not time pressed, I extended my speech a little bit to deliver you something a bit more complete. Yeah. So, okay, you may start the time now. I mentioned that I'm growing an avocado tree to some of them. You might remember it. So, well, except my avocado was something more like this. Well, that's because I wasn't interested in the fruit, but only the seed. So first I cleaned the seed, I wrapped the seed in toilet paper, and I dampened it. It didn't have to be soaking wet, it just had to be damp enough. And then I put it in a Ziploc bag. And in about 2 weeks later, I got something like this. The seed cracked open and there was single root from it. After about 3 more weeks later, the roots submerged in water. I got something like this. So many roots developed from the mother root. In about 3 more weeks, at this point I decided that the plant will thrive in soil. So after planting my seed in soil in about 3 more weeks, this is the product. Leaves and stems, beautiful. You know, this is a very common sight in hospitals, in schools, and in offices. One might think that it's all right to just shovel up some dirt from your summer house and put it in the pot and plant your plant. I mean, this patch of land looks good. It's got grass, it's got flowers in it. The soil looks nutrient rich and healthy. So, sounds reasonable. Why not? The thing is, the garden soil is only appropriate in the garden because it's got all those natural miracles and bioorganisms and worms in it that aerates it and maintains it and improves it. As soon as the soil is in the pot, eventually it goes dead and barren. And black dirt, as we call it, or garden soil, by itself is as good as brick. It's tough, it goes compacted, it suffocates the roots, and it also doesn't drain water, so it's bad for the plant. That's why I would like to discuss about the difference between garden soil, also called topsoil, versus potting soil. So the first thing that differentiates potting soil from garden soil is the fertilizers. First is compost. Now, compost is organic matters that has gone through composting, or in other words, gone through natural processing to turn into something nutrient rich. Now, in order to make compost, you need some brown things and some green things. For brown things, you can add some dead leaves. You can add non-treated paper like newspaper and toilet paper tubes, and also some cardboard. And you can also add some wood chips and sawdust. For green things, most importantly, you need fruit and vegetable waste. You can also add tea bags and coffee grounds. But, however, don't add meat or dairy products. But do add plenty of soil, which will introduce plenty of bioorganisms. And if done right, your compost should be ready in about 2 months to a year. It's dark in color, it's darker than earth, and it should smell a really nice earthy smell.
I thought it like smelled like poop.
And in the gardening community, they call compost the dark gold, because it's true. A good compost really is as valuable as gold. Now, you might come across the term vermicompost. That's just to say the process of composting with the addition of vermin, such as earthworms. You can compost without worms, albeit slower. Now, in the market, I came across this product, biohumus. That's biocompost, the same thing. Now, manure. Manure is basically horse shit or any other livestock shit. It's basically grass that's gone through processing. So it's good for the plant, it's got nutrients. However, manure is not this. No. You can't just pick up some fresh horse dung from the ground and mix it with your soil. Well, you might think, what if I dry it thoroughly, right? If I dry it, then they basically look the same. Yes, but no. Fresh horse dung has to go through a processing very similar to composting in order to kill harmful bacteria and evaporate salt and ammonia, which is a toxic gas that exits the dung over a long period of time. Now, liquid plant food, this doesn't need this explanation. We are already familiar with this. Now, another thing that differentiates potting soil to gardening soil is texture enhancers. Now, they do not necessarily add nutrients to the soil, but they are essential for drainage so that the roots don't stay soggy for a long time. And aeration so that the roots get enough oxygen and is not compacted and suffocating. Now, first one, coarse sand. Coarse sand is like a very fine gravel, but not quite gravel. Now, if you can't find coarse sand, don't add regular sand to your pot, because it makes it even more denser, because regular sand is as fine as gardening soil. Perlite. Now, perlite is a very common thing among the gardening community, and it's a sort of a volcanic rock. And you can see on the package that it improves drainage and aeration in potting mixes. It's good. Next one, a cocoa coir. So basically it's coconut shell grinded down. the peat is like sawdust, while the cocoa coir, for its fibrous quality, it's also used to make rope, fabric, and pillow stuffing. They have this light and fluffy quality to it, and it also doesn't hold on to water. Now, in the list, I've also included manure, because manure not only adds nutrients to the soil, but also it has this light and airy texture, which enhances the soil. Now, our goal is to turn compacted, brick-like thing to something that's light and airy, even after water. Now, on the market, the only thing I've been impressed by is this product. And by the way, it's not sponsored. And as you can see from the ingredients, it has most of the things I've talked about. Yatsumochara, that's just dirt, and organic porto, that's compost. There's perlite, and vermiculite. Now, it's not the same as vermicompost I talked about. Perlite and vermiculite are basically the same thing. And then there's cocoa peat. It's a nice option on the market. However, for those of you who might want to create their own potting soil out of scratch, I've created a very simple formula. Since we don't have half of the ingredients just lying around readily available, a very simple modified formula was created. As you can see, for half the manure you can add compost, and instead of the coarse sand you can also add perlite. With this information in mind, hopefully in 5 years I could have something like this, a fully grown avocado tree. And hopefully you can grow something wonderful as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Egi.